Given the state of the market today, with it leaning in such a favorable way towards the sellers, I wanted to make this video and give you some practical ways that you and your clients can get your offer accepted. Because as you know, as soon as a property goes out onto the market, it's not uncommon for that particular property to get 5 offers, 10 offers, even 15 offers within 48 hours. So I want to give you some practical ways that you can write your offer to improve your client's chances of it actually being accepted. And the first tip that I can give you is follow directions. Follow directions that the listing agent has set forth, because we've all been to the MLS and we've all been to the document section. And I'll be honest, sometimes I don't even look at the supporting documentation where they're giving instructions, but now more than ever, you have to follow the instructions. So if the listing agent has set forth some specific instructions on the amendments that should be included, on the instructions on showing the home, instructions on submitting an offer, make sure that you follow those, because you don't want to get started off on the wrong foot with the listing agent, considering that you have to compete against 5, 9, 15 other offers. So make sure that you position your client in the most favorable light by being well informed and following the instructions. Tip number 2, make your offer as clean as possible. Avoid as many contingencies as you possibly can. Avoid the if this, then that scenarios whenever you are presenting the offer. Now, there are going to be some cases where you can't avoid it, meaning if the buyer has to sell their present home to get into that home, then really that's something that you really can't avoid unless they're willing to sell their home first, go to a hotel, or go and live with a family member in order to position themselves in a stronger way. So unless they're willing to do that, then you have to play with the cards that are dealt. But all intents and purposes, avoid the if this, then that, and avoid as many contingencies as you possibly can. This can also mean avoiding the appraisal contingency, avoiding the option period if your buyers are comfortable with that, and if they have the confidence, and if you have the confidence as well, to do that, because there are some risks associated to that. So make sure that you convey that to your clients, letting them know that we can do this, we can structure the offer in such a way that we're waiving the appraisal, we're waiving certain contingencies, but they need to be aware about the risk that they're assuming now. So remember, here you're the real estate professional, you're the real estate advisor. So make sure that you do just that. You advise them in the most sound way that you possibly can. Work very, very closely with the lender, because you need that communication. Don't always trust what the buyer is telling you. They may not be trying to flat out lie to you. In fact, most of them are not. They just may not be conveying the entire message to you that the lender had conveyed to them. So make sure that you're in direct communication with the lender and with the client, so everybody knows what everybody is doing. Now, the next tip is one that can get a little bit controversial, so I'm not going to spend too much time here, but writing a personal letter to the seller can still be a good way to stand out from the rest. So if you're the person that is presenting a personal letter that really appeals to the emotions, that's a great way to stand out, because as we know, it's not always about the money with the homeowner. So we're appealing to that side of things. However, with that being said, my next tip actually leads into the money situation. You do want to go above asking price whenever feasible for your buyers. If they're approved for that, or if they have the cash for that, and they're willing to go up that high above asking, then that's their decision to make. Now, when it comes to presenting offers above asking, especially in this environment, when above asking is astronomical in certain cases, make sure that you write everything down. Make sure that you document everything. Make sure that you give your broker opinion or the CMA just substantiating what you really believe the property is worth, but then you also present the value or the offer that you think needs to be presented in order to have a shot of it getting accepted. Make sure that you have that distinction, the actual what you perceive to be the value and also what you perceive to be the winning offer. Make sure that you document that. Now, another tip is to enhance your earnest money. So I'm here in Texas, and it's customary, it's not law, it's not required, but it's customary to do 1% in earnest money. If you can bump that up to 2, 3, 4, 5%, that really puts you in a different league. That's gonna really help the sellers know that you are very serious about this, that you're not offering a above asking price with pie in the sky numbers that the buyer never intends to fulfill. Now, if your buyers really want to play ball and they have a high risk tolerance, they can offer to do a non-refundable earnest money deposit. That is a thing. Regardless of what happens, unless that there's a breach by the seller, other than that, they're not going to get their money back. They can offer to do a non-refundable earnest money. Now, another tip that really enhances your chances is if your buyers are planning to take out a loan, your buyers should consider putting more money down. They should consider putting a substantial amount, if they can do it, towards the loan, because that's going to really show financial strength. So this means if the buyer was intending to do 5% down, if they can do it, do 10%. If they were intending to do 20, go to 25. Now here's the thing, make sure that you're that real estate advisor, that professional real estate advisor, because you don't want to advise something that's gonna put your clients in peril. You don't want them house poor, where they spend all of this money to purchase a home, but now they can't really go out and enjoy life. They really can't enjoy it. They can't buy furniture. You don't want them to be cash poor. So don't put them in that situation. Give them the options and let them decide. And another way to demonstrate financial strength is to ask the lender to reach out to the listing agent and reassure the listing agent that the buyers are ready to go. They've submitted their documents. They are as qualified as they could possibly be. Now they just need the home. And speaking of the listing agent, you do want to reach out to the listing agent and introduce yourself, establish some sort of rapport that you could possibly establish. Now, you don't want to be aggressive with this. You don't want to be a pest. You don't want to call, email, text repeatedly and become obnoxious. You just want to make sure that you stand out from all of the offers that they have in their inbox. And since I'm covering the tips to get your offer accepted, I want to go ahead and introduce the concept of the escalation clause. Now, on this one, I'm kind of neutral on it. There's going to be some people that swear by the escalation clause. There's going to be some people that absolutely hate it. But for me, I'm kind of in the middle. It really is, I don't have necessarily a position on it, so I just want to introduce it. An escalation clause is basically an offer where your buyer is committed to offering X amount more than any other offer on the table. So this example, you may be offering $500,000 with an escalation clause of $5,000 more than any other offer on the table. So if there's an offer out there that's $550,000, already beating out the original offer that your buyer was making of $500,000, then your buyer is committed to do $5,000 more than the $550,000. Now, with that being said, an escalation clause does have a limit. It does have the limit that the buyer is willing to go to. So in this example, the buyer could say, I will offer $5,000 more over any other offer on the table right now, up to $600,000. I'm not gonna pay over $600,000 in case the bidding gets that high. And another tip to get your buyer's offer accepted is to understand the situation of the homeowner to the best of your ability. So this goes back to you establishing some form of communication with the listing agent. You want to understand as much as you possibly can, as much as the listing agent will give you about the homeowner. You want to understand the motivation of the homeowners, because then it's going to give you and your clients the ammunition needed to write a better offer. As an example, if you find out that the homeowners that are selling their property are building a brand new property and it's still being built, then you can offer free occupancy. This will give the homeowners some leeway on when they have to move out. So as you can see, there's no perfect strategy out there. Now, these are all tips that you can implement. Oftentimes you can implement all of the tips that we've covered in this video, but oftentimes you're probably gonna end up using 2 to 3. Every scenario is different. So in this seller's market, give your buyers the highest possible optimal chance of getting accepted, because guess what? If the buyers remain motivated and you keep failing and failing and failing and failing to secure a property through no fault of your own, they may look for representation elsewhere, or they may be demotivated and then say, yeah, I'm just not gonna buy. Or honestly, worse yet is you keep working and working and working and working and working with them, 20 offers in and nothing happens. So that is a drain on your time, your resources, your capital. So it is to your advantage and to theirs, it's to your benefits that you find them that perfect home and that the offer gets accepted so they become homeowners.